Hello and welcome. My name is Stefan Poschik from CHC Corporate Health Consulting, and you are listening to the newest interview, the CHC Expert Interview. And today I have a really super interesting guest because he's doing so many different really cool projects and has different companies. And yes, you heard it, he is doing it all at the same time. And I'm really curious how he is doing this and how he can help us and how he can help our community to grow our companies and multiply our revenues. So hello and welcome, Ulrich Miller-Aichholz.
Hello.
Please introduce yourself.
Well, I was born in the Tyrol and raised here, went to school, did my A-levels and studied, became a teacher. On the first day at school, I thought to myself, oh, this is not my thing. So I taught for 3 years, but I studied beside, and I studied finance and marketing. So I did that as well. Went to Germany, to the industry, worked there, came back to Austria, worked here, and then went back to London and worked there. In 2001, I started interims management. And that means, you go in for a company that has got problems, and I try to solve these problems together with the employees there. I did 29 projects, 2 TV stations, radio stations. I was responsible for the opera festival in Venice and so on. So at that point, I got really focused, and I had to do one thing. When I go in and check the problems, I have to be very fast to see what's wrong in this company. So I developed, like 17-page checklist, what I have to do there. And so I work this checklist off and see more or less immediately what's wrong in the company. And then I try, not like, like consultants do, they go in and say, okay, this is wrong, so just do it. No, I did it. I went into these companies and I did it together with the employees. And so, of course, I learned to deal with all the shortcomings, with all, the excellences they have. And I got to know quite a lot of things. I did different businesses, but by the end of the day, it comes down to a few things that you have to do. Mm-hmm. First of all, you have to be very clear. You have to be very precise of what you do and what you want. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you have to think about, which person would you like to be? It's a very important thing. Mm-hmm. And how would you like to treat others? What are my goals? That's another thing, that is. And you have to keep focused and to fulfill. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, of course, you have to have the energy.
Of course. And I want to know how you have this energy still, if you are doing so many different things.
Well, you have to be very carefully with your time. That's another thing that you have to be. To stay focused and to see, how much power have you got. I learned by doing sports. I was a long distance runner, and I know exactly that I can go over my borders. And I can know exactly how much I can go over these borders before I break down. And so this is just a learning curve you have to have. Most of the people think, oh, that's a bit much now, and then I can't do it anymore. No, you can. Yeah, you can do a lot more. And if you push yourself, borders get higher and higher and higher. So this is not a really big problem. But you have to stay focused. You have to have the energy. You have to have, really the power to work this off. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing I'm looking for is necessities. Mm-hmm. Is it really necessary to do this or that? Is this really necessary that I do it? Is this really necessary that it is done now? So all these things have to be very, very clear. I come back to the point number one, it's clearness. Why do I do that? It has to be an aim. It has to be a goal. And if I'm just doing it, for no reason, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, that's so true. May I jump in here, Ulrich, because this is already so incredible valuable what you just told us. And I do a lot of coaching for consultants, trainers, and other coaches actually. And this is also what I see in these coaching sessions. Most of them are lacking exactly this focus and this clarity. And I think especially in the last 2 and 3 years, it is getting harder and harder to stay focused because so many interruptions are coming from outside, from the media, from this COVID crisis, from Ukraine crisis and stuff like that. So how do you stay so focused and so clear?
Well, I allow these disturbances, I would call it, but I select, what is necessary, just what I said, what is necessary, what is not necessary. And this is a clear thing. Then, of course, has this got influence on our project, on the task you have to do now, on your duty? And then, of course, I'm not an expert in every field. So what I do is, I try to get the best experts to work on this project. So I go out and try to find the best people to help me. So don't be afraid. So most of the, of leadership people are afraid of, well, if he's better here and he's looking after my job and, he's going to kill my job off. No. It is, work together with people that know more than you. You can learn such a lot from them. I did not know anything about, satellite companies when I had to do that. So I had to go out and get an expert. And he taught me everything. Now you can ask me. So,
that's really cool. And in the same run, you did this project in Venice, which was also a completely different kind of project. And
it was what a really joke down there. So we had 350 people on stage.
Yeah,
I signed 350 contracts, but calling every different country, because we have people from every country of the world. What do we need? Had people down there at the prefettura, what they call it in Italy. So you went down 3 big files, with all the contracts, and he says, "Oh, you've got everything." And I said, "Yeah, okay." And he just was shaking his head, and I was like, "What's going on there?" And so then he told me, "I'm terribly sorry, but we only do 7 contracts a week."
Wow.
And so I thought, opera festival next year.
Most likely, yes.
No, and that's what I call the next thing you have to do is networking. So you have to know people that can help you in situations like that, come up and jump up on you and are not really, foreseen. You have to jump in and say, okay, how do you solve this problem now? So I had a good friend and in Italy, and he solved that for me. So somebody from Rome came and worked for us. So we could do it. And then, of course, you have to have ideas. Because when you're stuck there and you say, okay, I don't know, how can I go on? You have to have, ideas. And sometimes, curiosity helps. That you have really cross ideas, not straightforward. You have to think, in all ways. That's what I call a network thinking. So most of the people nowadays have a very focused thinking. They are trained in one, special field. But, especially when you go into leadership, you should have a network thinking. So if you do this, it influences that in front of you, that back of you, left, right, down, up. So go all dimensions. That's a very good thing that you can do, just to not to get stuck. So of course, to be focused in the morning, I have my rituals. Yeah. So of course I say, when I get up in the morning, I say, okay, what can I do better than yesterday? And that's what I ask myself every day. And I try to do at least one thing better than yesterday. And that's how I try to rise. And that's how I try to, get more confidence and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a very similar ritual in the evening. So what was it all, that went okay? So I have to live, I have to love, and it has to have a matter. So did I live today that I can say, yes, I'm happy with what I did? I have to love my work. Otherwise, I'm sure you understand that, I wouldn't do it. I run 3 companies, so
yeah.
it's a lot of work. I have to drive a lot of kilometers. I have to fly. So it is, sometimes it's strenuous, mm-hmm. But people always say, so what is the secret behind these things? Mm-hmm. And there is only one secret. People ask me, how would you define success? So I said, for me, that's very, very, very simple. Mm-hmm. If I can make other people successful, I'm successful. That's,
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's one of my things, I try to make other people successful. Nowadays, you have so many people in leadership that they, wow, he's looking after my job, so I don't tell him, so I keep secrets and all that. No, don't do that. Mm-hmm. Help this person to rise. Mm. And he, will cherish this. And that's what you need and nothing else. So this is not okay. So clarity is one of things, energy, necessities, and you have to have passion for things.
Mm. That's really awesome. Thank you so much for this, because this is already a really clear path you can execute here. And I know we didn't talk about this, but may I ask you this question? So did you ever had really, really high times and struggled in your businesses and companies or in a project?
What a question. Stefan, everybody's got that.
Thank you. I knew this has to come, but I know that a lot of people do not talk about it and try to hide it and try just to show their successes.
Except when you failed.
Yes.
Yeah. So it does not matter that you are really successful. It's how many times did you stand up after failure? This is important.
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah. And I mean, I know a lot of people who really, really have hard times at the moment. A lot of entrepreneurs are still really struggling. I had a couple of calls also this morning where a lady told me how hard it is because the decision makers, they don't need their product at the moment, or they don't need it so much that they have to execute other things at the moment. So what should somebody do when he has hard times as an entrepreneur, and how can he still stay focused? Because I totally agree to all the things you just told us, but I also know from my personal experience how hard it can be to really be focused and to really think, okay, how can I improve myself when I just have to survive? And if I don't know how I can pay the bills at the end of the week, it's really hard to stay in this.
I think most of the people think, what can I do? And I think this is the wrong approach.
Yeah.
The right approach would be, what do my clients need? And if you can fulfill that, you will never be out of business.
That's awesome.
So I try to work like that.
That's really good. Thank you so much. So this brings me to the next point, and you told me you are really, really super focused when it comes to project management and processes. And this is some kind of your behind the scenes superpower, that you can handle so much different things and you can execute so much different projects in completely different industries. So tell us a little bit more about this.
Well, I had to go into project management because I had so many projects at the same time. And if you don't go with project management, you're lost. You forget half of the things. So with a project, I do, with projects I do, planning for me is one of the most important things. So if you have got a right plan, if you say, okay, we do it like this, we do it like that, it's not enough. You need to have a plan B. And if you don't have that, you're lost. So of course, I always think about, who could I have in this project? Where are the experts? Who can I ask, to be part of the expert? And they then, if I do, for a building, thing, I have been in the real estate business as well. So I did a lot of buildings, and of course you have to see, what's going on there. If you don't know anything, forget it. Get somebody. It's so important. You can't do everything yourself. I wouldn't give a planning, to first class school, because the potential of mistakes is just too high. So don't do that. So try to get it and work with experts. They are more expensive, okay, but they save you a lot of time.
That's true.
By the end of the day, it's about average. Yeah. And so that's what I would do. And then, of course, the planning is most important. And then we say, okay, what can we do there? What can we do? What's the alternative? How can we do this? How can we do that? So what is step one? What is step two? Can two steps, work parallel, or do they have to be one after the other? And all these things, have to, go and be planned. And when I start then the project, it's more or less everything is set. And what I have is, like a complete reporting system in there. So when people do something, they have to report it. And it's in the project management software. So when I look in, I know everything.
Yeah.
And so I have also like a traffic light in there,
Okay.
red, yellow, and green.
Immediately, what is green, what is red, where do you have to look at?
Well, red is a bit
focus.
Red, you're in trouble.
Okay.
Don't go for red.
Okay, orange. Let's stay.
It has to be green, maximum yellow. Otherwise, you're in really trouble. And that's how I work, So I try to foresee things, where have we got problems? So if somebody, does a mistake, mistakes always happen. And I'm a fan of, let's say, a different mistake culture. Mm-hmm. So when you do something, you try something, it's never a mistake. It's a trial to be successful. Like Edison, who invented the bulb, had 4,000 failures, and then he was successful. So the difference between, failure and success is just one trial more, nothing else.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So it's almost like that.
So
it's very basic.
How can a good process help you execute this? Because project management, I understand. Where is the next step that you can implement all these processes to keep all your things running, to also keep your...
Well, I have a software for this, and I have a secret as well. I've got two ladies looking after that. So, of course, I'm not the person who goes into the routine. So these girls are really tough. And if somebody forgets something, they call him. And 70% of their time, they call people that promise to call. And it doesn't work. So, that's how we do it.
Okay.
And of course, so you can handle parallel projects. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible.
That's really awesome. That's really awesome. So Ulrich, I see I have so much more questions, but we have already the time for this interview. And I'm 100% sure not only me, but a lot of other people also want to know more about you and what you exactly are doing. So what's the best way to connect with you? What's the best way to reach?
Well, the best way to connect is either LinkedIn or you can even write me an email. So it's not a problem.
That's perfect.
So you can put the email on there, and people can contact me if they want to.
That's really cool. Yeah. That's really cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And I'm really honored to have this information from you and to have this interview with you. And so I wish you really all the best. And for all the people out there, you heard Ulrich, please do what he just told you, because he is an example that it is working. And so please just execute it. And if you have any questions, just reach out to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well. Thank you.
A lot of success, my friend.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.